The overview of Salisbury manufacturing operations. The Orcon Steel manufacturing facility is located at Evans Road Industrial Site, Salisbury, Brisbane. The site has 3 structural mills capable of producing a range of hollow sections, including rectangular, round and circular. These sections can be painted or electro-galvanised. The mills operate as cold roll forming as distinguished from hot rolled mills. Master coils, which are 2.1 metres in diameter and can weigh up to 25 tonnes, arrive via road or train from BlueScope Steel, Port Kembla, New South Wales. If by train, it will be in the early hours of the morning. The coils come in various grades with a gauge range from 1.48 to 6 mm thick. Prior to unloading, coils are marked with their key details and placed into store, pending allocation to the relevant pre-production process. The relevant master coils are selected and moved by crane to the uncoiler at the entry to the slitter. The end of the coil is driven into the slitter. The slitter heads have blades set at appropriate spacings to provide requested widths. When the strip is run through the blades, the coil is slit into narrower strips ready for converting into tube. The slit coils, which can range from 78 to 603 mm wide, are rewound at the coiler, which pulls the strip through the blades at speeds of over 200 metres per minute. We have the capability to slit 100 tonnes of coil per hour. Once recoiled, the slit coils weighing from 1.5 tonnes to 12 tonnes are strapped ready for loading by crane and moved to the coil transfer storage area ready to send to the galvanising process or direct to the mill. The galvanising plant produces 4,000 tonnes of electro-galvanised product a month. The plant uses a tonne of zinc per day and operates 24 hours a day, 5 days per week. The plant can galvanise gauges from 1.6 through to 5.7 millimetres, with the strip widths of 240 up to 603 millimetres wide. This area is the most hazardous environment on our site, as a sulfuric acid solution is used to clean and take mill scale off the strip. The galvanising process starts with a new coil placed on the uncoiler. It enters the join-up area where a weld is made to the tail of the existing strip already in the process. The strip travels through the accumulator, which stores enough strip to ensure the process can run continuously whilst new coils are added. The strip is run through 2 pickling tanks that contain a mixture of sulfuric acid and water. The strip passes through scrubbers after each tank to remove any remaining mill scale. During the plating process, the plating solution carries a low voltage current which passes from the positively charged zinc baskets to the negatively charged steel strip. By adjusting the level of power going through the electrodes that run beside the strip, we can adjust the amount of galvanizing that occurs. This process is called electro-galvanizing. The newly plated strip has a final rinse to remove all the chemicals and is polished prior to the passivation and drying process, which protects the finished product from corrosion. The newly plated coils are recoiled, cut and strapped ready for transport to the slitter or direct to the mills for rolling.
Metalcorp is your rural brand for the land. Rural fencing, stock handling equipment, tube and pipe, sheet and plate, crushers, cattle ramps and more. They stock Australian-made steel and can cut and deliver.
They call us Metalcorp, and here's our deal. We're into everything in steel.
Mill 6 is our newest mill and produces steel tube from 12 to 76 millimetres in diameter with a wall thickness from 0.8 up to 3.2 millimetres and lengths from 5.4 through to 8.1 metres. This cold roll forming mill is a state-of-the-art tube making process, enabling us to produce square, rectangular and circular hollow sections and other shapes. The slip coil is placed on the uncoiler, and the end of the new coil is driven into the join-up areas to enable a welding join to be made to the tail of the existing strip. The strip is fed into the floop at speeds of up to 500 meters per minute. There's enough material in the floop to enable new coils to be added to the process to ensure the production continues without interruption. The strip runs through the forming section of the mill that rolls the edges of the strip ready for welding. The tube passes through an induction welder where the strip edges are heated to over 1250 degrees Celsius. The edges are forged together when passed under pressure through the weld rolls to create a welded tube. The raised weld bead is removed with an inline scarfing tool. For galvanized products, the scarfed area is repaired by spraying a zinc and aluminium coating. The tube is cooled after the welding process, which reduces the welding stress prior to entering the sizing section of the mill, where tube is reduced to its final size. The tube enters the Turk's head section, which ensures the tube meets tight standards for shape and size. The rolls in this section enable straightening of the tube, but allows for the shape to be changed to square or rectangular profiles. The compression applied through the sizing and Turk's head section improves the final mechanical properties of the finished product. Protection of the tube is provided by coating the tubes with paint or oil. The paint is applied by a vacuum coating paint line, where the tube is heated to 70 degrees Celsius by passing through an induction heater, enabling the paint to dry quickly. An inline jet printer applies a product marking to identify the product meets Australian standards. The continuous length of tube is monitored with encoders, enabling a clamp to grab the tube prior to entering the saw house. This ensures the tube is cut to length with only a few millimeters tolerance, whilst travelling at speeds of up to 160 meters per minute. Quality inspections are undertaken in the bundler area, where samples are taken for testing. Reject product is diverted in the packing area, where it is bundled and strapped. The prime product is packed with an automatic bundler. The finished prime packs are transported via conveyors, rotated 90 degrees, and then labelled ready for the crane to move the packs to the holding area. The RS90 mill has been operating for 20 years and in that time has produced over 1 million tonnes of tubular product. The range produced covers 20 square through to 100 by 50 square in gauges from 1.2 through to 4 millimetre. The mill operator selects the appropriate coil and using the 8-tonne crane loads coil onto a mandrel. The feed coil is then moved into the welding position. Once the strip has been welded and excess weld ground down, it's fed into the accumulator. The strip enters the mill from the accumulator through the strip washer, which removes excess particles on the strip. The breakdown rolls start forming the strip into shape from flat to circular. After being partly shaped, it's sent through the fins, which is a set of rollers that gives more defined shape, enabling the strip to be tightly welded together. It's then scarfed to remove the welded slag on top of the tube. The tube enters 2 cooling troughs and upon exit passes through an eddy check, which examines the weld integrity. This device picks up any weld defects. Should an imperfection be found, an alarm goes off to alert the operator of a weld issue. The strip is then cooled down and enters a set of rollers called the sizing end. This shapes the tube into a perfect cylinder, while further sets of shaping rolls called Turk's heads turns the tube into SHS, RHS or oval shape and many other profiles. The tube then enters the flying cut-off saw, with holding clamps grabbing the tube to accurately cut it to length through 5 up to 12 meters long. The tube moves to an inspection table where an operator completes quality checks for correct length, size, shape and straightness. The tube then moves along a set of conveyors to the paint line. This consists of 3 furnaces which heat the tube for paint adhesion and then a drying process. The tube passes through a paint booth to be painted red, black, blue or a clear coating, depending on the run specifications. The product has by this stage been tube marked to meet the Australian standards. The tube moves to a turnaround area and onto a packing bay. Once the pack is formed, The tube is strapped and tagged to be removed by crane to the holding and dispatch area. The Otto mill is our largest tube mill and can run sizes from 50 square millimetres through to 150 square millimetres nominal bore. The Otto process then follows the same path used for the RS90. However, once the tube moves along the rollers and up the incline chains, it's automatically packed. The packs are strapped and tagged by 2 operators and follows the same path as the RS90 product to the stock holding area. Product is separated with timber dunnage between each layer to allow for easier and safe handling. It's then loaded onto the back of road, rail and sea units, ready for transport to our distribution centres or direct to customers.
Metalcorp is your rural brand for the land. Rural fencing, stock handling equipment, tube and pipe, sheet and plate, crushers, cattle ramps and more. They stock Australian-made steel and can cut and deliver.
They call us Metalcorp, and here's our deal. We're into everything in steel.
Orcon Steel has over 50 years' experience manufacturing precision tubular steel. The precision mill, located at O'Sullivan Beach in South Australia, started production in 1967, manufacturing the iconic Hills hoist. Through ongoing innovation, modifications and efficiency, the operation has evolved into a world-class manufacturing hub for steel tube and pipe. Today, over 1,000 precision products are manufactured in a wide range of profiles, gauge thicknesses and steel grades. 12-tonne master coils are delivered and moved around site via a 15-tonne forklift. The master coil is unwound into the slitter, where steel blades cut the coil into predetermined widths at speeds up to 125 metres a minute. After slitting, the coils are rewound on the recoiler, which pulls the strip through the blades. The slit coils are then strapped and moved to one of 4 mills for rolling into steel tube. The tube forming process starts with the slit coil being placed on the uncoiler, which feeds the coil into the mill. The strip runs through a series of forming rolls that form the strip edges into a circular shape ready for welding. An induction welder heats the edges of the coil strip to 1,250 degrees and the edges are forged together. The tubular product is then sized and formed into circular, rectangular, square and other steel shapes. The manufacturing process is tightly controlled and product is verified by up to 18 different quality checks, repeated throughout the production run. Once the tube forming process is complete, the tube is cut to size and deburred as required. The product goes through final quality checks, is formed into packs and restrained with steel strapping. Finished product is dispatched to Orcon Steel and Metalcorp's national distribution network via road and rail transport. Orcon Steel's precision products are used for a range of purposes including furniture manufacturing, heat exchangers, fencing, exhaust systems and other applications.
Metalcorp is your rural brand for the land. Rural fencing, stock handling equipment, tube and pipe, sheet and plate, crushers, cattle ramps and more. They stock Australian-made steel and can cut and deliver.
They call us Metalcorp, and here's our deal.